Hi there, welcome to my second question and answer video. I've now posted a video every week for the last 2 years, and in that time I've seen the channel grow from strength to strength. This time last year I only had 1,000 subscribers. Now I'm up to nearly 3,500 as I'm filming this video. Probably by the time it goes out I will have gone past 3,500. I cannot believe that, and it's all down to you for watching and subscribing, and hopefully all through that time I've helped you to enjoy your photography. Now, you've just heard me say how important I think it is to enjoy your photography, and that really is a motto of the channel. It all came about for the reasons that I started the channel. I'd got to a point where I was taking photographs for judges and for other people, and I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. And so what I thought it was really important to do is have a fresh start. That's why I started the channel, to give me a bit of an impetus to get out and take some photographs again. But in the process, what I've done is I've actually found a love again of photography, and that is what I want to try and put across to you, to give you some different ideas and different ways to think about photography, and just do it for your own pleasure. So a short while ago I did ask for people to send me questions, and in this video what I'm going to try and do is answer as many of them as possible. So what I've done is I've split the questions into two sections. First of all, a technical section, and then a more personal section. So we're going to start off with a question from Lawrence Arnold, and he's asked, do I still persevere with the FTZ adapter and the 200 to 500mm lens? And the answer is no, basically, because there's still the issue with the autofocus and the stabilization that I had before. Now, I have released a video just fairly recently with an update to those problems that I've been having, and that specifically covers the firmware update that's recently been released. But what I do now is I tend to stick with my D850 and the 200 to 500mm lens when I'm out taking wildlife photos. And so the next question is from NJB Photography, and this question related to the best settings for a 100 to 400mm lens. Now, unfortunately, it's very difficult to answer this question because there is no such thing as best settings for a particular lens. It all depends on what photograph you're trying to take. Now, if I was trying to take pictures of fast-moving birds, then what I'd want to do is try and get the shutter speed as high as possible. That's one issue. The other issue is, do I want a shallow depth of field? And in that situation, I'd want a fairly large aperture, which is a small f number. So it's very difficult to actually say what are the best settings, because then it all depends on the lighting conditions as well. And some settings that you might want to use, you might struggle to use because the settings, you just can't get the settings you want because of the lighting conditions. Then you have to think about altering the ISO, maybe to get the shutter speed faster, or lowering the ISO to allow you to open the aperture. So it very much depends on the amount of light you've got on the day. Now, I do often get questions asking me about the information that I put in the top left hand corner, which is all of the camera settings. Now, I put these on because people seem to like them, but again, you can't really learn a lot from that because you can't really tell what the lighting conditions was like on the day that I actually took the photos. So really, it's all about camera craft and learning how to set your camera to match the lighting conditions. Now, I have made a video on exposure, and I'll link that down below in the description and up in the card. The next question comes from JJF38, and this person asked, where is the best place to situate a nest box for a robin? Now, there's lots of things to consider when situating nest boxes, and it very much depends on the species that you're trying to attract, because each one has a different habitat. But specifically for a robin, there's several things to consider. Now, the first thing is to make sure it's placed in a northeasterly direction, so it's out of the prevailing wind and rain. Secondly, a big no-no is to put it in a south-facing direction, because then it becomes a sun trap. And finally, if you can disguise it a little bit with maybe some overhanging vegetation or a climber, this will just help the robin to feel less conspicuous. I've had several questions from John and Sandra Blackburn. Now, they are regular commenters, and I also know them from our local camera club. The first question they've asked is, have I considered doing night photography? Now, really, I haven't done a lot of night photography. I have tried some pictures of the moon and stars, and also some light painting as well with torches, but a lot of that does require specialist equipment, especially when you're starting to take pictures of constellations and that kind of thing. You need a moving mount that can track the stars. As the Earth moves, obviously, the stars move as well, and if you don't have a very small shutter speed, as soon as you start to make the shutter speed longer, you start to get star trails, and really that's not something that I'm interested in at the moment. Now, the second question they asked is, when I'm editing photographs, is do I use a stylus or do I use a mouse? And what I do is I use both, because I find both give me different capabilities. Now, I'm quite lucky that I'm left-handed when I'm writing, so I can have the pen in my left hand, but I'm right-handed when I'm using a mouse, so I can use both of them at the same time. And I've got a mouse that is a gaming mouse, so it's got lots of additional buttons that I can program. So a lot of the functions that I use constantly are programmed into the gaming mouse. And then also on the stylus pen, I've got two buttons. One I assign to select the brush tool, so if I'm anywhere on the page, I can just very quickly turn the stylus into a brush, and the other button I flip between black and white, and you can do that by assigning it the X button, which is how you switch between black and white on Photoshop. And this is really handy when I'm doing things like masking or painting onto layer masks. It's really handy just to be able to flip from black to white and rub out any mistakes that you've made. The next question came from Arch Brooks, and he asks, do I prefer wildlife or landscape photography? And now this is a very difficult question, because I do like both for slightly different reasons. Both have the pros and both have the cons. I like the wildlife photography because it's very peaceful. It's a challenge to sit and wait for the wildlife to come, or to be in the right place to get the best shots. So I do like that from that point of view, and I do like the landscape photography because it's a lot simpler, it's more straightforward. You do have to be in the right place at the right time, and you have to get to the right location, but the subject doesn't move, so you can concentrate a little bit more on the craft of taking the shot rather than having to do things at a little bit of a faster pace. Now, I also must say that I do like the videography side of photography as well. I like making the videos and the editing process as well. And sometimes I do get a little bit carried away with making the video, and I do feel that sometimes the quality of the pictures does slightly suffer. So maybe in the coming year that's something I'll try and just put back into balance and focus a little bit more on taking really good quality photographs. Now, I'm going to have to apologise to this person because I'll probably mispronounce her name, but Chuminzer asked, am I married? Do I have children? Do I have a job? So really wanted to dig into my personal life. And yes, I am married. I've been married for 15 years and we don't have any children. Both myself and my wife are teachers, and so we see children all day, and we've decided that we don't want to have a family. We've got 4 cats, a horse outside, and some chickens, and those are our surrogate children. Now, I did mention that we're both teachers. I've been a teacher, a primary school teacher that is, for 24 years, and then about 3 years ago I started my own business as a private tutor, and a few weeks ago I filmed a video in Leek, and that is where I work. I've got my own shop there set up like a classroom, and that's where I teach from. Now, Ian Williams has asked, do I do any workshops? Now, at the moment I haven't got any plans to do any any workshops. I do some private lessons for individuals on how to use their camera, but workshops are something that would be quite difficult with having a job as well. It would have to be something that would take place at weekends. Maybe as time progresses and the channel grows, it could be something that I would consider. I'd really enjoy doing something like that, but just at the moment it's not actually practical. So if it's something that you would be interested in, do get in touch with me, because I could arrange something maybe at a weekend somewhere local to where I live. Well, I've tried to answer as many questions as I can and give you a little bit of insight into my personal life. Hope you found that useful. I do want to say a big thank you again to everybody that sent questions and everybody that watches my videos and has subscribed. It's amazing to me that I've got 3,500 subscribers and the channel just continues to grow. I get lots and lots of positive comments that really spur me on, and hopefully my enthusiasm comes across on the videos. If you've enjoyed this video or want to register your interest in any workshops that I might put on in the future, let me know down below in the comments, or nip over to my Instagram account, that's @Oakden Photography, and you can leave me your comments there. Now, if you like what I do on the channel, you can support me by visiting my Teespring store. There I've got a range of merchandise that you will see me wearing in lots of my past videos, so go and check out what I've got on offer. But you don't have to spend any money at all to support the channel. You can do that simply by clicking like, subscribe and the bell notifications, because that really helps me out and it makes sure that you don't miss out on any future content. I hope you all have a very safe and peaceful new year. Watch out for next week's video. That goes live at 4 o'clock on Sunday. You can always check out this video up here in the meantime, but all that's left now is to say stay safe, and I'll see you soon.